It's time for a quick, hopefully, Lunduke challenge update. So, Brian Lunduke, sort of an internet famous person, Linux speaker, a member of the OpenSUSE board, and I have sort of a friendly competition going. You put Linux on that, he's working on an animatronic robot puppet, which is completely nuts, and there's a link to that in the description. I've got to beat that. I've got to come up with something better than that. And I really wanted to get just an amazing, over-the-top, ridiculous Belgian waffle maker, preferably a broken one. Something from circa late 60s, early 70s, and put Linux on that. Well, I'm coming up short on the waffle maker, and I don't want to run to Target and get a waffle maker and do it on that. It seems kind of cheap anyway because, you know, what is that really? What is that, you know, putting Linux on a Raspberry Pi, running some wiring, it's just not as cool as an animatronic puppet. Now I've got my dot matrix printer that I'm putting Linux on. That could be cool, but that doesn't quite have the flavor that I'm looking for. So what comes to mind? Well, I've got an idea. I'm gonna float it with you guys. You let me know what you think, because I think I can do this. I think I've got all the hardware to do this. Oh, and I gotta pull it off by the end of the month, by the end of February. So hopefully we'll get this video out the door pretty quick so you guys can give me some commentary. I don't know. So here's my idea. You know what one of these is? Probably not. I mean, some of you in the audience may have no idea. This is a modem. This is how we got on the internet before the days of, really before the days of Ethernet, although not really, sort of, kind of. You remember wired phone lines, like where you had to plug in a wire? Cellular phones weren't really a thing. Well, this was an external unit that you would plug into a phone line, and it would give you a digital serial connection out the back. And so this one's a really fancy one because it's got 12 LEDs. That's how you know it's really fancy. So this one's actually one of the nicer modems from my collection. I don't want to destroy it. So I've got this. This is a Hayes Smart Modem 1200. Yeah, serial number 286-212-4053. This is manufactured somewhere circa 1984. The crazy thing is this is 1200 baud. If this thing was running continuously from 1984 until today, it would have just barely transferred 156 gigabytes of information. Yes, only 156 gig. And it's huge. Look at it. It was completely filled with electronics and a speaker, and this one has 8 LEDs, but again, 1200 baud. It was state of the art. It was amazing. This is a Raspberry Pi Zero. So I think I can run 128 gig card with this. I'm pretty sure that I did that in the past. Vaguely recall. I know a 32 gig card will work, but I'm pretty sure that I tried a 128 gig card in a Pi Zero, and that worked. So I'm wondering if I can get, you know, a 200 gig card, because I just like the irony of 200 gigabytes of information on a board this big inside this thing, replacing the modem function. So it's going to need audio. I've got this. This is my PWM driver. This is not really going to take up a lot of space inside the modem. My idea is to turn the modem into sort of a piece of internet history, into sort of a conservation object. And I've contacted Jason Scott, owner of textfiles.com. He's sort of an internet archivist. He works for archive.org. I'm going to do another video interviewing him because he does a lot of really great work that's kind of tangentially related to this. And so that would be my way of introducing you to his work. And so if you want to support archive.org and some of the really awesome work that he's done, not just for that, then I think you should totally do that, and that'll be in a different video. But for this, in terms of BBS preservation, even before the internet, there was the bulletin board system. And a bulletin board system was, you would use your modem to call another modem, another computer, usually in your town, maybe the next town over, maybe in your state, maybe the Kansas City Public Library in my case. And so bulletin boards were kind of a thing, and you would connect with people that way, and it was a lot of fun. Well, there's a lot of archives of BBS information on the internet. And so my idea is to make this Raspberry Pi running Linux pretend to be a modem, all the way down to the LEDs and the sound effects. What sound effects? Is like, well, this is a 1200 baud modem. It sounds like this. We're going to need to upgrade that just a little bit in order to make it a little bit faster. Actually, we can upgrade it to the fastest modem sounds ever, I guess. Probably, sort of, kinda. So just having the information is not enough. I think I'm actually going to turn this modem into a time machine of sorts. And if you're going to build a time machine out of a modem, why not do it with some style? Oh, I think this is going to be an interesting project. So what do I mean by that? I've got an idea that when you hook this thing up, it'll show up as a serial modem. And if you issue a dial command, ATDT, dial tone, or ATDP if you want to dial pulse, but ATDT, and dial the phone number of a BBS in the archive, in the database, it would actually connect you to that database and show you the ASCII artwork or the ANSI artwork or anything else that was in the database. The database is not super organized for this, so I may have to scale that plan back a little bit. But how cool would it be if you connected and downloaded the information that you sort of explored the BBS history? Because BBSs were a really big thing, and you know, it's one of the first pieces of our digital history that probably is not going to be preserved correctly if not for the work of people like Jason Scott. And so this is kind of an homage to that, and sort of kind of an homage to the fact that, you know, I cut my teeth on BBSs, and so it's a little bit nostalgia, it's a little bit, you know, nerdy, a little bit whatever, but I think I can get hundreds of gigabytes inside this 1200 baud modem, or what was formerly a 1200 baud modem. But wait, that's not all. There's gonna be a lot of room left over inside that thing. You guys remember this? This is the ASRock B-Box. This is a quad-core Intel Celeron. It's got 3 display outputs. I'm pretty sure this is small enough that I could fit it, I can rework it and fit it inside this modem. Pretty sure, don't know. But how cool is it gonna be to have a modem with 8 or 16 gigabytes of RAM? And storage might also be a thing. I don't think a 3.5-inch drive is gonna fit in there, but I do have some 4 terabyte, 2.5-inch hard drives. So that might be an option. 4 terabytes mechanical spinning rust, or maybe 200 or 500 gigs of SSD plus the SD card that actually contains the BBS archives. That could be a really cool project. So what do I need from you guys? Well, one, I need to know if it's a crappy idea. Or, well, not just a crappy idea. It's got to be better than Lunduke's idea. I got to actually be able to pull it off by the end of the month. And if you want to help, you know, you can hit us up on the forums. Probably you can contribute code through GitHub. Mainly what I'm wondering is, would I be able to run BBS emulation software on the B-Box or the Raspberry Pi? It's just a lookup function with a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of special effects. But I'm thinking that I could also run a full BBS. I'm thinking that I could actually run a BBS with Legend of the Red Dragon and some other stuff like that. Now, Lunduke already did that. He's got a BBS running on Telnet. So I could actually turn this into a BBS server, at least temporarily, for the community, and we could fart around. You guys could experience Trade Wars and Legend of the Red Dragon and some other really like super nerdy, super nostalgic stuff from really before the age of the internet. I mean, hell, we could hook up Usenet on this thing, and you could be doing stuff with news groups, maybe, at least the text ones. So that may be a lot of fun. I don't know. I think this is a good idea for a project, and I think I could pull it off in a couple of weeks. And I think putting the B-Box in the modem is really just the icing on the cake. So let me know what you think about the project, and if you have any experience or want to fart around with emulating a BBS or running BBS emulation software, or you want to build a front end. I mean, I haven't built it yet. If you want to go to textfiles.com, or you know, strike up a conversation with me on the forums, we can talk about how we're going to translate this archive into something that you can explore with you know, ATDT and the phone number from the database. So you're going to dial back in time to the BBS that's actually just running, you know, an archived copy of the BBS. I think it's a little over the top and a little nostalgic. Probably a lot of fun, and probably anybody that grew up with BBSs that is watching right now is probably cackling with maniacal laughter. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. And so if you want to help out or do some code, or especially if you have some experience with this stuff, if you don't really have the experience putting it together, I don't know that I can, you know, I don't know that I have a task for you. But the electronics, I think I've got covered. The software for the BBS is really what I'm worried about, and maybe for the BBS emulation. But I think I could probably pull that off if I've got to. So my question to you guys, is a Hayes Smart Modem 1200, you know, modem time machine cool enough, possibly, to compete with an animatronic puppet? That's really the question. If you want to help work on it, well, we could use some volunteers. You should head on over to the forums at Level 1 Techs. That's where I'm going to be, signing out. I'll see you there.